Hey, everybody, it's Robert C. Stern with The Social Leader. Hope everybody's having a fantastic day. It is the beginning of February up here in the New York region. I have the honor today with the speaker, author, man himself, who many people respect on the way he looks at marketing and customers and all this area. Mr. TedRubin himself is with us. Ted, we have what? How much time do you have? About a half hour? What's your time frame? I wasn't sure.
I can do 30 to 40 minutes.
Okay, just wanted to make sure I was respecting the time because I know you're busy.
Well, you know what's really cool about this stuff? I can just say, I'm out of here. I click a button and I'm gone. So it's not like you got me handcuffed. Or
that is true.
I can say, oh my God, this is so awesome. Robert is amazing. And these people that are coming on are great. Hello, then I'm just going to cancel the rest of my day and stay here for the rest of the day.
There you go.
I was just having this discussion with someone else, who was complaining about some things I post or what I do. And, one of my major answers was, what I love about social is it's the ultimate in permission marketing. If you don't like what I post, then don't follow me. If you don't like how I engage, if you feel I'm not doing something right, and also you have the opportunity to ask me, to come out and say, maybe you could explain why you do this or give me your opinion, because guess what? I have changed things based on the feedback and opinions I get from people. Matter of fact, I do it all the time. Sometimes it's direct feedback when someone reaches out and connects with me. Sometimes I see conversations and I say, hey, either maybe I should do this or maybe I shouldn't do that. But that to me is the beauty of all this, that if you don't like, and then the ultimate is, if you feel I'm filling your tweet with worthless nonsense, click unfollow.
Follow. Simple. Isn't it amazing the simple choices we have?
And it's just amazing because, I hear or I see all these people complaining or whining, or instead of giving positive feedback or giving valuable criticism, they become haters. And, although, Jay Bear likes to say hug your haters, I say hug your critics. I say ignore your haters. Or at the very least, I don't hug them, but I say, thanks for your feedback. Or, I push back kindness, and they don't know how to react to that because what they're looking to do is get a negative reaction. But truth be told, and this is to the whole audience here or anybody you share with, if there's ever anything I'm doing that either you don't understand or you don't like, tell me. Ask me.
Exactly.
I'm happy to discuss it. TedRubin@gmail.com, 516-270-5511, at TedRubin on Twitter, TedRubin just about everywhere else. I'm available.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that, Tony. Never wrestle with a pig in the mud. You'll get dirty and the pig likes it. Exactly. And that's why I love Tony.
Tony's a blast. Tony is a blast. I've been talking with her a while now. So I want to talk about your books first. 2013, you came out with book number 1, Return on Relationship. Then you followed up last year, which How to Look People in the Eye Digitally. How do you see these books relating today with all the change in technology? Because I wrote an article myself, a blog, back in April last year, and it was about my birthday.
Do I look old like this, or is it better like that? What do you think?
You look more relaxed right now. So I wrote this article about my birthday came and I got 700 comments wishing me happy birthday between the different social sites. And you're going to relate to this because this goes back onto R. I got 2 phone calls. 2 phone calls the entire day. And they were not my family. My family even posted on my Facebook timeline and did not call me. How do you see today different trying to convey to brands, to people about building relationships and not just on the technology?
Well, first of all, I'll say there's nothing wrong with people not calling you. And I get that. I mean, I talk about it all the time. If they want to separate themselves, and the 2 that did call you separated themselves.
Yep.
But the other thing is, there's nothing wrong with posting on social feeds as long as you do it personally, as long as you add something to it, as long as you, as I say, look people in the eye digitally, make some kind of a personal comment, write a nice, something that's a little bit more than just happy birthday. But then again, happy birthday is fine too, because a lot of those people have an opportunity to reach out to you that never did before. So I don't have a problem with that, okay? To me, what I see is the opportunity of when you do more, then you have the opportunity to separate yourself, to be a little bit different. Look, I'd like to do more every day. I'd like to I write personal notes to people, and I enclose them in envelopes. I would like to do that again. I think you're gone. I don't know if anybody's hearing me. I see
Ted,
you're not
I think
there.
people are saying
Robert,
that
hold
you
on.
might have to refresh because your audio went a little in and out. All right, hopefully he's coming right back in, guys. You guys see me okay? Okay, just making sure. This is the ability of live streaming. We always have a little technical difficulty once in a while, but that's okay because that's what it's all about. So hopefully Ted will be back in a second and we can continue on with the conversation. I hope you guys are enjoying. Definitely tweet it out, post it out on Facebook, however you can. We want to get a lot of people. If you guys got questions, it's /Q and then your question space and the question. I know Q is also in the room. So, or you can do /Q for her name and you can ask Q an actual question. That's Q, the brand. Guilty, I know. I saw you creep in here, Q. I saw you creep in. Don't worry. That's why I like that /Q. I always think of you now. So hopefully he's coming back in a second. I love what he talked about just, while we're waiting for him is that, everybody has the choice. If you don't like what you're seeing in people's feeds, you don't have to follow them. You don't have to be doing things like that. And that's huge. That's a huge thing right there. You don't have to complain to everybody that you don't like what they're talking about, whether it's politics, religion, or the things they talk about, or agree, or anything else. But at the same time, you have that choice to be able to do that. Tony, just give me 1 minute because I want to get Ted back in the room first. He's coming back in right now. So here he comes.
Okay, I moved inside. I've been having some Wi-Fi issues today.
That's okay. That's okay. So you were saying, and I was talking about it a little further while you were doing. I got it.
What I was saying is there's nothing wrong with reaching out to people on social channels. That's what's great. We could never reach out and hear from that many people in a day. It's just a matter of how you want to separate yourself, what you want to do to make it different, and how you look people in the eye digitally. I mean, if you're at a personal note, it might actually be better for you than a phone call because you certainly couldn't take 700 phone calls in a day.
Correct.
So for me, it's about how you connect, what you do that. Look, I write personal notes. I don't write that many because it would end up taking up my whole day. But, once a week, at least I like to try to hit somebody with a personal note, send something in the mail that's a surprise. But that's just me. That doesn't mean it's necessary for other people to do it. It's all about what you do that connects you with others and how you do it. And look, like I said, I try to always put a special quote or something personalized or mention someone's name when I reach out to them on their birthday, but that isn't necessary. That doesn't have to be done all the time by everybody.
No, I agree. But it's interesting how many people on there I really didn't speak to before. And it was nice they did that. But some of them I only speak to on technology. And that's where I think it's like, how personal can you get if you only talk to them on Facebook or if you only talk
again, I'm going to have to disagree.
No, and that's why I wanted to have this discussion with you.
And you might think because, I'm all about relationships, because look, there's just ways to do it. I know people way better because of social media. I mean, I could never know what they were doing. I mean, I look at Tony's page, I see stuff with her kids. If there was no social platforms, I'd never be able to do that. And you can certainly personalize it that way. And I don't know about you, but I build relationships with people that when I do finally meet them face to face, we're hugging like we're best friends. And I know them better than some of my oldest friends who might not be. I have a bunch of old friends that insist they don't want to spend time on social. I mean, they can't even be bothered to post pictures. And by the way, that's fine. But then I'll see them and they'll go, oh, you didn't know Maddie got married, or you didn't know this happened. How the fuck am I going to know? You didn't call me. I spoke to you, 6 months ago, which isn't that bad. But if you had been posting, then I'd be able to pop in, know something, make a comment. So to me, when it's used properly, social makes us much friendlier. The problem is most people are not doing that. Most people think clicking a button means making a friend. Most people, like I said, if you close your eyes and think of the word friend, most people will not see an image of a friend. They will get a logo of Facebook in their head. And, look, I give all due respect for Facebook. They're amazing marketers. They've done this incredible job of taking ownership of the word friend, but we've got to take it back and add more meaning to it. And no, because if I connect with a lot of people, I am not necessarily going to know them the way I knew my best friend growing up.
Correct.
But truth be told, I'll know a lot more about their families and other things they do if there's stuff posted on their social channels.
Correct. Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I guess I get to the point that sometimes when you're trying to do business with people, sometimes you need to take it offline and not just stay online.
No, I agree. There's nothing. Look, I tell you this all the time. People reach out to me to get me involved in their company, to do influencer work, to speak. And if at all possible, I'll say, hey, listen, I'll be in the city tomorrow, or I'll be in DC tomorrow. Let's meet face to face. I do this all the time. I post wherever I'm traveling. I meet up with people in every city I go to. Do I make meetups every half hour? No. But if you take the time and the energy to reach out to me and figure out a time that works, I love to meet people. And I much rather make a business deal face to face. But that can't happen. But then there's
not 100% of the time.
I mean,
correct.
A lot of people don't even use everything they have at their fingertips, the right way. How many people don't respond to your emails? Or here's my personal favorite. Someone reaches out to me via email because they got my email on a show like this, something else. They go, oh my God, Ted, it's so important. I got to speak to you. It's vital. And I write back to them almost within the hour and say, great, let's find the time. And then I never hear back from them. How many people out there does that happen to? I mean, right? Or I get people that write me and ask me a question. Can I be at something? I write back. I never hear back. Or I have a conversation about speaking at a conference. They go so far as to ask me to send them an agreement or a contract, and then they never even acknowledge that they received it, and I never hear back from them. I mean, so, and then to me, that look, you'll hear back from me. I might say, listen, I can't do this, or I'm not interested, or this is what it'll take, but you'll always hear back from me. How hard is it? I had a guy in Brand Innovators that I work with today, and he said to me, I reached out to him today and said, buddy, you're new, I get it, and I'm here to support you, but you haven't responded to a lot of people I'm trying to add to events as guests. And his answer to me was, well, I've been overwhelmed with other work I had to do. And I said, listen, I get that. Totally. But then just shoot me back a quick email that says, I'll get to this next week. I'll get to this next month. I'll get to this in 2 hours. I'm busy right now. It just acknowledge so I know you're on it. And it's so easy to do that with people. I'll respond to people all the time and say, listen, I'll do one or two things. I'll say, I'm really busy. I'm going to get to this tonight, tomorrow, next week. Or very often, if it's something you want from me, I'll say, listen, I'm really tied up right now. Can you ping me next Monday? And by the way, I do this for more reasons than just being busy. I do it with people that are initially reaching out to me sometimes because I want to see if they have the staying power. I want to see if they're going to come back. Because by the way, 90% of the time, I never hear from them again. Or here's my other personal favorite. And, Robert, thank you, because your stuff was all over my feed. It was on my calendar.
Well, I put it out before.
People ask me to do something with them, and I ask them to kindly send me a meeting invite because that's the way I work. If it doesn't hit my calendar, I'm not there. And then they never do. And then they want to know why I don't show up for something. And I tell them right up front, if it's not on my calendar, I won't be there. I've even had some of those people say, well, I don't really do that. Can you do it yourself? No. I'm really busy. I'm giving you the courtesy of giving you some time. You want me. Now, if I want you, if I'm selling to you, then I have to do it your way. I have to follow up with you the way you want to follow up. I mean, all the time I get people that send me Twitter DMs and I say, listen, and then they want to know why I don't get right back to them or why it can take me days or why I very often miss it. I don't use DM alerts. I get hundreds a day. Most of them spam, but even if they weren't, there's just too many. And I tell people, this is not a good way to communicate with me. I'll certainly check it periodically, but if you need me quickly, email me, or the fastest way to get me is text. And I give people my phone number. I'll give it again, 516-270-5511. When I'm in meetings, I don't look at my email, but I do check my text. And that comes from legacy of my daughters being younger when they were in junior high and high school and worrying they might need me. I'd always check my text, but I use because it's developed into a technique for me. But again, if I want you, and the best way to get you is via Twitter or via Facebook messaging, then that's the way I need to contact you. So you want me, you have to come to my terms. I want you, I have to come to your terms. It's why I always text my daughters, because nothing else works. And they've made it clear if I try to call them. I mean, how many of you guys have texted your kids and within seconds you get back a text that says what? With an exclamation point. That's their way of saying, I'm here, I'm available, but I will not talk to you on the phone. So you have to learn from that and adjust the same way you do with clients. Look, so much of what I learned from my kids, I apply to business, because I like to say that, they're just like customers. They're an audience that goes la, 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 la. So you have to figure out, you have to find moments of connection and find the best ways to connect with them.
Okay, so besides connection on that area, you were just recently quoted, I know, a video on 2016 about things coming up. And your quote was, marketers will have to get more familiar with customers. Can you elaborate what you mean a little bit about that?
Well, here's what I think. I think sales, especially retail, and a lot of other businesses are coming full circle. There was a time back in the day. You look like you're a little closer to my age than a lot of the people on this thing. I know Gerald, who's here, certainly is. And you guys, might remember when, the stores you went to were in your local town. I mean, I'm not even just small towns. I grew up in a town on Long Island, but the guys knew me. They knew my parents. I could even go in and say, oh, put it on my parents' account. Mm-hmm. Until of course my parents said, don't let them put it in.
No more credit.
But these merchants knew you. They knew your families. They knew your history. They knew that if they sold you something you didn't like, you'd be back and say, I don't like this. And you might take your business elsewhere. So they got to know you. They made recommendations that were of value. They didn't just sell you shit to sell you more shit. Okay. Now, then what happened is mass merchandising and mass marketing became the big thing. And we all thought we were anonymous. We really did. Back in the 60s, like the 70s, we thought we were anonymous. We didn't realize that American Express was tracking every move we made. And by the way, they make, and still do, make the majority of their money on selling data. Okay, and selling connection. Yep. So American Express was tracking everything, as were our banks and everybody else. And we thought we were anonymous. Women went to the huge department stores with hair curlers in because they thought they wouldn't see any of their friends. Remember hair curlers?
Yes, I do. I remember seeing my mom that way.
and we thought we were anonymous, but we weren't. And they were just using that data to sell us more shit. But now we all recognize that we're being watched, tracked, and visualized on everything we do. And guess what? It's okay as long as you add value. So if I walk in a store and you do something of value to me, point me in the right direction, send me to a product I needed that I might have forgotten, give me a discount on something that I wasn't really sure I wanted, but my kids do, and now you're enticing me to try it, that's valuable. I will accept those connections, that direction, that oversight any time of the day. But if all you're trying to do is use retargeting to sell me more shit, or offer me a coupon to come back in the store after I just left for a discount now instead of when I was there, then I'm going to get pissed off. Okay? So that's what I mean, is that marketers have to know who we are, and they have to start using that connection the way they used to use it as marketers. And they can do that, and they can do it at scale because they now have, back then there were no tools to do it with. Now there are. There are tools. I mean, I just started using Nimble, for instance. Now, John Ferrero has been talking to me now, and here's a perfect example of R&R, of return on relationship. John Ferrer met me years ago. Okay. He's been trying to get me to use Nimble for years. He's never given up. Once a year he pings me and says, hey, I know you really haven't started using it much, but I'd love to talk to you again. And finally, the outreach he does to influencers, one of those being Brian Kramer. Brian has said to me a number of times how much he loves Nimble. A couple of times when I visited, we just didn't have time, but I was there a couple of weekends ago. I was getting over being sick. We decided we were going to have a real down weekend. And Brian sat me down, installed Nimble for me, because I'm terrible at this shit, by the way. I am really good at learning how to leverage a platform to build relationships, but I'm terrible at the technology part. It just isn't natural to me, and I'm so busy with other things, it's hard for me to find the time to do it. Like I tell my daughter.
But you can't
I understand. No, I understand mindset. I can do it. I just don't have the time to devote to it because it's not natural to me. So I get other people like Brian Fanzo to help me with a lot of new applications, and Brian Kramer set it up for me, walked me through it, showed me how to use it. And then when John Ferrero, who was paying attention, saw that we were using it together, he reached out to me again and set up a one-on-one call yesterday to help me with it more. Now, Nimble's a great tool because it allows you to connect to your audience on all the different platforms, your email, your calendar, and understand the last conversation intentions you had every time you're communicating, emailing somebody, anything like that. So there are tools like that now available, some free, some very inexpensive, some enterprise level that cost a lot more depending on where you're working. But there's no excuses not to get to know people. Look, I know I'm going on here, but I'm going to give you another one. I graduated college in 1980. My dad was a salesman. I went to work in the investment business, and my dad was like really excited. And he'd call me every day. And finally, I get a call from him saying, so, it's been a week already. When's your first appointment? And I said, oh, I have an appointment next Thursday. And he goes, great. What time is the appointment? I said, 10 o'clock. He said, what time are you going to get there? I said, I don't know, about 5 to 10. He goes, no, you're going to get there at 9 o'clock. You're going to walk around the neighborhood. You're going to get to know the restaurants in the area. You're going to go into the building early. You're going to go see what other companies are in the building. You're going to get into the office early, look around the office. If you're lucky, you can get the assistant of the person you're meeting with to put you in his or her office so you can look at the diplomas on the wall, the photos on the desk. Find points of emotional and conversational connection. Now, today, there's no excuse. All that stuff is available to you, whether you're using an app like Nimble or you're on LinkedIn or you're simply Googling somebody. So when I go into meetings, and I do this all the time with clients, salespeople, or other ones, and I sit there and I hear a salesman, the first words out of his mouth, so John, nice to see you. How long have you been here at XYZ company? Seriously? You didn't look at his LinkedIn profile before you came in so you could make a more relevant comment. Mm-hmm. You didn't check him out on Facebook. You didn't find things so you know whether he's a father. And by the way, most of these kids aren't even looking around the room. And by the way, it's not just kids. It's people like you and me. They're not even looking on the walls. They're not even trying to see, can I make a comment about fishing, about golf, about being a grandfather? These are the things that allow you to connect with people. That makes it about them. This is not complicated. Now, going back to my books, the basis of everything I do, the hub is return on relationship. There's TedRubin.com is my blog. ReturnOnRelationship.com is another site I have. And then the other books come off it. So my first book, which was a chapter or a part of Return on Relationship, was called How to Look People in the Eye Digitally, and extended on that. And by the way, my books are short for a couple of reasons. Number one is because I just don't have that much to say in a book. Number two is I don't want to bore people because I know nobody really reads too much long form these days. I don't know about you guys, but when I get all these books like this thick, I read the first, second chapter and the last chapter. It's what I do. But also because I just want to make a statement about a particular topic. So my second book was How to Look People in the Eye Digitally. And the one I'm working on now is called Selling in the Age of Influence, which is about how to connect with people, how to use relationships, how to use these tools to find the keys in. Because remember, everybody prefers to buy.
Look at that.
Everybody prefers to buy from somebody they like, all else being equal.
That was tight.
Hey, what up, baby?
How are ya?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing fabulous. Awesome. Grateful as always.
Happy to see you here. I got to tell you, grateful is important. It's being grateful for all different things. Sometimes I know people get a little off by it when it's like, oh my God, I'm grateful for everything, and you're grateful for all your trials and tribulations. And truth be told, I'm not grateful I had to fight for my kids. I'm not grateful that it's still a fight every single day, but I'm grateful for them, and I'm grateful for all these relationships I can build and everything else. So I get that. And I'm also excited because in a few weeks, I'm going to be having a conversation with Janet Fouts about empathy, which I think goes hand in hand with being grateful.
I think she's in the room too.
I saw Janet here earlier. Yes. I'm not sure if she's still here. But yeah. Tony, what's going on? What's going on in your life?
Oh, a lot. Everything is going good. It's crazy busy, but good. You had mentioned about Jay Bears, doing a lot of talk about hugging your haters. And you mentioned how you try to ignore the haters, which I agree with, and I'm interested in more what you have to say. I remember when I was in karate and they said, if you tighten up, if somebody strikes your leg and you tighten up your leg, then you're going to have more damage to your leg.
Yep. That's why all those drunk people don't get hurt in the car accidents when they kill other people. Because
their muscles are all relaxed.
Right. And that's a great point, Tony. Wait, did you have a question, or do you want me to comment on where I think you're going? What I will say is, first of all, I'm a big fan of Jay Bear. And I'm a fan of his concept because I don't really think Jay means hug your haters. I think Jay's really using the term haters in a much wider form where he's really referring to critics. And I 100% agree. Not only do I hug critics, I seek out critics. When I was at Elf Cosmetics, and I built one of the largest presences for a cosmetics brand in the early days when I was fortunate and all the big brands were afraid of social. I used to go onto our Facebook page every day looking for complainers because I knew that if I turned them around, I would turn around a lot more people. Because what I find is that critics become dynamic advocates when you solve their problems. And most often critics are only critics because no one's paying attention to them. And no one's talking about their issues. And here's another thing, a little tip, and please don't take this the wrong way, people. But the truth is, one of the easiest ways to turn around critics of your product or company is to give them shit for free. I mean, it really is that easy. Most people are complaining because a product came broken or they weren't happy with it too much. You send them a box of product and all of a sudden they're your biggest fan. But what happens is the people that saw them criticizing all of a sudden say, oh my God, Tony hated Ted. Or Tony was so critical of Elf Cosmetics or TedRubin, and now she loves him. There must be something to this. So I seek out critics, and I also live by a mantra that JetBlue has, where their concept is if there's one person criticizing or complaining, there's probably at least another 150 others. So let's answer them publicly. Let's show them we're open to conversation, and we're going to resolve that issue and build our brand. Because I like to say a brand or a business is what you do. A reputation is what people remember and share. And a reputation for engaging, for speaking to people, for communicating goes a very long way. Now, let's remember something, and let's not forget this. Your product has to be good, right, Tony? I mean, if the product sucks, doesn't matter how good your marketing is, how good your engagement is, or how nice you are. But all else being equal, I think that goes a long way. So happy to answer another question, or if I didn't really get to what you were
No, I just wanted to tell you I still have your book. And I appreciate you, and I'm grateful for both of you guys. And thank you for being on here. I love what you have to say. I love your message.
That was a great day when you came to New York. Hopefully you'll come again.
That was so fun.
I'd love to host you.
And that was because I picked up the phone and called you.
Exactly. And also I'm hoping to be in Philly. And I say hoping because my daughter still has to say, yes, Dad, it's okay for you to come that day. But I'm hoping to come there on the 13th, Saturday the 13th, to have lunch with her for her birthday, which is the next day. It might have to be another weekend, but I'll be around, so maybe we can connect. She is a Valentine's baby.
She's a Valentine's baby.
Yeah.
I have one too.
Do you?
Sienna's is the 18th.
Right.
All right, Ted. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Tony, always great to see you.
Take care, Tony.
Talk soon.
It's interesting, Ted, how you were bringing back like the old days of going into offices. Now, I was a headhunter the first 15 years coming out of school, back in the late 80s, going into the 90s, and I had to go to companies and HR people, and I had to go into their offices and sell them on me and my services and all this stuff. And you said something that I did every single time. I used to walk out of that meeting with all my notes, everything that was on the walls, what school they went to, the skiing picture, the golfing picture, the fishing picture. And every time I saw a magazine article, I used to send it to him. That little extra.
I still have like
the index cards. Remember the index cards?
But here, let me tell you something. I still do this, Robert. So
I do too.
First of all, every person that connects with me, every person that I meet at an event, they get a personal note from me on LinkedIn. I connect with them. I never, ever, ever use an automatic LinkedIn response. And please, people, do not. And when people reach out to you, even if they use an automatic, write a personal note back to them. I also do that to everybody that connects with me who reaches out using one of those automatic things. If there's someone I think of value or I know, I still connect with them, but I write a personal note back. But, another thing is that I also mark down every card goes into my database with where I met the person, what the date was, what the event was. Every once in a while, if I have time, there's notes on the card that get added. And then the first email you send me will get cut and pasted and added into my contacts file so that I have context if and when I bump into you again. Obviously via email, I can search it easily through Google, but when I meet you in person, now I have that all there. And now all that stuff shows up in my Nimble on the side of my email and my LinkedIn and my Facebook and all these other places. Now, quick, Terrence had a question, and I want to address it. He wanted to know my thoughts on blogging. I love blogging. I mean, blogging has increased my presence, has increased my influence, gives me a place to house all my own things. And by the way, whether you call it blogging or you call it a website, own it. Have one that's yours, because Facebook could close tomorrow. I'm not saying it will. This is not I love Facebook. This is not a prediction. I think Facebook will be for a long time. But truth be told, Mark Zuckerberg owns the damn thing. He controls it. If tomorrow he said, fuck it, I'm done with this shit, I don't need any more money and I hate this thing, he could shut it down.
Yep.
I mean, and then, or he could change the tools, or he could charge you, or he could do a million other things, just like LinkedIn is now putting a wall around their data and other things. Have a place that you own yourself. TedRubin.com is mine.
I was going to say, a lot of people think they write their things on Medium, and I'm like, guys, Medium is not yours either.
No, and Medium's great too, but you don't own it. It's not
Correct.
your URL. I mean, I own URLs for both my daughters because I want them to have a place. I tell college students all the time, there's another reason for it. You get to really display in one place what you're about. And I tell, this is the news to college students. Every college student should have a blog. Especially, I mean, half of them are paying $60,000 a year to go to college. They're paying and they're writing content. Why not use that content for their own benefit? And guess what? It's getting graded and corrected. None of my content gets graded or corrected before I put it online. All you guys have to do the grading and correcting or not. You know, so why not put that out there? So have your own thing, even if you only put photos in there or content in there, you know. And the other thing about blogging is you get to speak your mind, you get to put out your content, and then people get to share it. Now, here's another point I have. Almost everything I put on my blog, I also put on Facebook in a number of different ways. I don't just put the links. Very often I will put the content itself. Why? Because people will content much more actively, aggressively, and more themselves on Facebook than they will on your blog. It's very hard to get comments on your blog. Okay, a lot of people have to go there. They have to take the time. Half the time there's applications that make it more difficult. But on Facebook, they feel inclined to do that, and they get feedback from so many others. So very often I put it there to get feedback, and sometimes you'll see I take screenshots of the content and the discussions on Facebook, and I put them into my blog. I'll post it on my blog along with the post, because then people get the benefit of reading all the back and forth that people had of the conversation that started.
That's 100% true. There's like a safety net for people in Facebook, I notice. So,
well,
Nazim,
it's just easier.
Yeah, Nazim's over in Italy. He wants your opinion about live streaming platforms.
I love live streaming platforms. I think they're a great opportunity to build relationships, to build your brand, to let people see who you are, to engage with people. You know, I'm using Periscope. I'm trying to get more into it. Here we are on Blab, which is a great place. I like Blab. To me, is not a great place to spread your message. There is a very limited audience, okay? But you can take this content, post it anywhere else. I repurpose all my content. Yep. I make videos on Snapchat that I share on Facebook, on Vine, on Instagram. I do the same thing here. I take this content. If Robert posts this, or I will share it somewhere else if it was a great discussion. I do the same thing with Periscope. I take a lot of my scopes when I love them, what's happened with them, and I post them to Facebook and other places, or to YouTube. I also like live streaming for, like, I think one of the best things about Blab is to get on and have a conversation with anybody, to jump into a Blab out of nowhere and just say hello to people, whether it's someone you know or someone you don't. It's just another wonderful opportunity to connect with people and build relationships. But the other thing I love about these live streaming apps is it's finally making video social. Video was not social before. Video was only one way. Now I'm not saying it has to be social. A lot of times when I go on Periscope, I'm walking on the beach, I'm in the middle of a crowd. I can't read and see what's on the screen, and I'm just sharing my thoughts. But again, you get to see my face, you get to see it, you get to comment, you get to tweet about it. Now that it's all living in our Twitter feeds, it makes it that much more social. So Nazim, love it. Want to be doing more of it. Obviously, there's only so many hours in a day, but I'm hoping you'll see a lot more Periscopes from me. And I try to serendipitously jump into blogs here and there whenever I can.
Yeah, Tony had to point out, well, where was your first Periscope, TedRubin? And then she went, with me? Who said Tony?
That?
Tony.
No, my first I'm not sure. It could have been with Tony. My first Blab was with Samantha Kelly.
Samantha, I remember when she tweeted you and asked you to come over and do it. Yeah,
right. So that was pretty cool. And now I do whenever we can. Brian and I have just been traveling too much, but Brian Fanzo and I do a no let up Blab. We're trying to do it Friday afternoons. It's been a little bit difficult with all the two of us have been doing, but whenever we can, we do jump in and have our conversations, which I love.
So what is something you're looking forward to this year in the trends and everything? I mean, you know, everybody started to say, oh, live streaming's the year. This is the year of live streaming. It's on its way to be big. And I'm like, it's already big. It's already kind of here. We just know how to use it now and how we can work with it to do it the right way. But what do you think is going to be the big thing for 2016?
Well, there's what I hope to be the big thing of 2016 is relationships, understanding the value of that, understanding that there is ROI in that, because trust and loyalty are the keys to repeat customers, to larger order, to lifetime value of a customer, to average order value, to frequency of purchase, to all these kind of things. I also, I don't worry too much about what's next. I like to concentrate on what's now. I'm very present, and I find that too many worry about what's next. But I think Snapchat is growing tremendously. So whether it's Snapchat or itself or those kind of communication vehicles, right. I like to say that I believe Snapchat is the only pure social platform that exists today, because if you're not storytelling, engaging, or communicating, you might as well not be there. If you're look, you can fool yourself, and actually it works. Broadcasting on Twitter, broadcasting on Facebook, broadcasting other places, it works. You get an audience, people see it, but you kind of can fool yourself into calling that social. On Snapchat, if you're not engaging, connecting, communicating, or storytelling, you might as well not be there. So, I think Snapchat is going to be huge. Or if not Snapchat itself, but what's happening there, the way you can communicate with video, with conversation, with facial recognition. And I don't mean facial recognition from a technology standpoint. I mean from seeing people's faces, from them making quick videos back to you instead of necessarily text. I think those things are really happening. And I think we're just evolving into a very more connected, social, visual world.
And it's bringing back like sexy, as we say. The social is now becoming more sexy. You get to know people in a quicker manner.
Well, I don't know, ladies. Am I sexy?
Never ask a question. Maybe you got to get ready. Look, here they come. Heck yeah.
There you go. I mean, I would like to get rid of these, but I would never do it with surgery. So I'm just trying to, I'm trying to work out my neck and my head more. What do you think?
Somebody's ears must have been burning real hard, because I just saw the last person who just joined the room.
Samantha Kelly.
Samantha Kelly. And here's my good friend jumping in to ask you a question, but you know him already.
Dude, I am so jealous of that white beard on the black face. Man, I gotta get me. Look, I was supposed to go to Florida this week, but my roommate, my buddy down there, who I share the apartment with, had the flu, so I thought it best not to head there. I'm gonna be there Monday. I gotta get more of a tan, man, because that white, it just doesn't show up as well on mine.
Oh man, I just wanted to jump in. I see my brother Robert, and he has my brother Ted here, so I wanted to jump in and say, great interview. Always good to hear from you, Ted, and hear from you, Robert. My question would be, what do you think is the next big move in social coming in 2016? We've talked about, live streaming is obviously there. Live streaming has become a major point even for networks and stuff like we talked about.
Gerald kind of answered that already, but I'll get into it a little deeper. What I think is that companies, people, everyone is going to start putting more value on relationships. And what I think is going to happen is we're going to start look, everyone needs KPIs. And when I tell people that, things are measured, I don't mean that you don't have to measure things, but you have to develop your own KPIs. What I like to say is it's not like everyone says, oh my God, Snapchat isn't worth it because they can't measure. They haven't figured out yet. Well, guess what? It's on you, and it's on brands to figure out what measurements they want to put in place, what KPIs they want to do. But I think that a lot of people have talked about this. A lot of people have approached me about, developing a return on relationship score. And, I'm trying to stay away from that stuff. I'm not saying I won't ever do it, but, I don't want it to become another clout. But I think companies are going to start understanding better how to track and measure a relationship. And they're going to do that via connection. They're going to do that via engagement. They're going to do that via share of voice. They're going to do that via net promoter score. And they're going to start bringing all these things together to understand more of that value. That's what I think. I don't think it's about a platform. I don't think it's about a thing. And all this talk, Twitter's dying. Twitter's not dying. What Twitter has really going for it, the one thing that nobody else has is real-time news. Real-time conversation, knowing what's happening today, now. I'm not saying nobody else can ever figure that out, but what I do agree with, and I've been saying this for years, and maybe one of these days my prediction will come true. I think I made it in 2011, 2012, and 2010, and it never happened, is that Twitter will get acquired. Now, it's looking like it might not be Google, who I always thought it would be, but maybe it'll be somebody else. And sure, they're going to evolve the platform, they're going to change it, and then we're going to figure out how to use it best. It's not a matter of, oh my God, it's going to change. It's a matter about figuring out how it works best for you and for others.
Awesome. Well, thanks. I just wanted to jump in and give my guys some love. I'm going to jump back on the sideline and stay in the chat, man. Always good to see you, Ted.
Always good to see you.
Great seeing you, Robert.
Looking forward to a face-to-face soon.
Oh, absolutely.
So Melanie had a quick question here. Do you think live stream is getting overpopulated? Interesting.
I don't think it's overpopulated at all, Melanie. I don't think it's even close to where it's going to go. Well, first of all, Blab is not overpopulated. It's underpopulated. A lot of people's complaint about Blab is, well, you can't garner a real scaled audience here. I say, who cares? You have great conversations, and then you can share those elsewhere. I'm very big about what I call serendipitous, not serendipitous. I'm sorry. I'm talking about, connecting vicariously. Okay. In other words, watching Robert, myself, you have a conversation and feeling a part of that conversation because you're in it, you're watching it, you're seeing it. So, I love Blab because it's different than other platforms. As far as things like Periscope, I don't think it's overpopulated. Again, I think it's going to continue growing. I think there's not enough direct conversations. I know what you're saying. I think the point you're making is there's too many people doing scopes and then nobody knows who to watch. But that's the same on every social platform. If you add value, if you build your brand, if you connect with people, if they get to know who you are, they're going to come and see you, no matter how many other people there are out there.
Okay, Nazim's coming in with a quick question. It's technical stuff now, and I don't know what your knowledge really is. But Google Plus,
was dead on arrival. Okay, I wrote. If you go back on my blog, you can find posts from years ago where I said Google Plus is not a social platform. It never will be. Google's not a social company. It's one of the reasons I think they need to acquire a company like Twitter, because then they can get the social mentality. I mean, first of all, it's very hard to disrupt your own business. Nobody ever does that. Google makes so much freaking money from what they do that to understand the social beast is very difficult for them. Google is a great tools company. It's an amazing search company. It's an amazing ad platform, and that's what they do best. So to me, their platform was never conducive to social. They never had consumers in there. It was always a professionals platform. It still is. Now, the reason most of us I post everything I do in Google Plus because they give you an advantage on indexing. Yep. So if you don't post your post there, and by the way they've gamed the system, that they've given everybody a Google Plus account if you have a Gmail account. So right there, they're able to say we grow faster than anybody else. And then they reward you for plussing your own content. Imagine liking your own stuff on Facebook. You'd never do it, but on Google Plus, if you're smart, you do it because then they index you better. So I think it's dead from that standpoint. I think Google will always offer us great tools, great connection, great advertising, great search. It's the go-to for me for search. I'm assuming it is. What they're not is Amazon is the go-to place for me to do retail search. And I think Amazon is taking that over a lot. If you're searching for information, you go to Google. If you're searching for a product, you tend to go to Amazon. I don't know if you know this, but Amazon, I think this past year sold $2 million in ads around their search.
Wow.
So, that's my take. And by the way, I'm not an expert. I just have opinions, and I'm happy to share.
Do you think it's going to be phased out towards something else, or is it just going to?
I think Google is really, really smart, and they evolve and phase out and change anything that's not working for them. So I think they already are. A great guy to talk to about this is Martin Shervington.
Oh, I know Martin very well.
Martin has based a lot of his business and his career in the last couple of years on Google Plus, and because of that, he's very up and on top of what's happening, what changes are coming, what they're doing. So I think he's a good guy to ask those questions to. Yes, he might be a little bit tilted in the direction of Google Plus is great because it's what he does. But Martin's a really straight, honest guy, a really smart guy, and I think he can give you better feedback on where they're going because I think he stays in touch with them about that.
Thanks a lot.
My pleasure.
Bye, Robert. Great seeing you, man.
Nice seeing you, Nazim.
Take care.
See, like Nazim's another person we talk about relationships I got to know because of Blab. He's a New Yorker living in Italy.
Hello, how are you?
So, hello, Dr. Corey.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Nice to see you.
Thank you for accepting my request and or my offer to be part of your panel.
Okay. Well, do you have a question for Ted? Because we're doing kind of like an interview questionnaire type thing.
And this is about startups.
Nope, just a little bit about everything. I don't know if you know TedRubin himself, so.
Well, listen. Why don't you think about it in the meantime?
Excuse me. I have a question.
Okay.
Okay.
Where do you think our United States of America going for next millennium, in other words, with the next presidency, towards what kind of economical power?
Okay, so now you're getting a little bit out of my wheelhouse. But the side of me.
You said anything. But
the side of me is I believe in this country. I think America is the greatest country in the world. I mean, obviously, I live here and I've been born here, and maybe I'm a little prejudiced in that respect. I'm hoping for another Democratic president. I think that we're going a long way towards making this a better world for ourselves and other people, and I hope we continue in that direction. Whoever gets elected, I will support them because this is my country. God forbid it's Trump, but that's just my personal opinion.
Does it need your vote?
Well, he won't get it. I'm a Hillary supporter. But again, not my wheelhouse. Other than I think that we have amazing people that live here. I think we have amazing entrepreneurs, and I think that we will climb our way out of anything that we've gotten ourselves stuck in. I think we will do our best to help the rest of the world. Do the best they can. I hope that we will not inflict our beliefs on the rest of the world, but our support instead.
All right, Doctor.
Where is our economy going? Where is our economy
Well,
going?
I'm hoping the economy is going to keep growing. We have really smart people here. We're supporting entrepreneurs. And truth be told, that's the last I have to say on this.
Okay.
But reach out to me anytime. I'm happy to discuss.
Thank you.
I do want to answer some of the questions I've seen on the side. Terrence, I am not an analytics. I am not an.
Thank you.
I am not an analytics guy, Terrence. I'm the wrong guy to ask. I do everything based on my gut, what I see, what I hear. My analytics is getting involved with people, going to people's pages, seeing what they're talking about, seeing what they're doing. And then I go to other people who are experts in analytics when I want to get that information and a little bit more on the technical side. Tony asked, how often do I send email newsletters? I send one on Sundays and one on Wednesdays. The one on Sundays is my content. The one on Wednesdays is always featuring somebody else's content. My R&R newsletter that goes out Wednesdays is always sharing a blog post of somebody else, Return on Relationship. So there's that answer. And Desiree, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Hey,
Thanks
Desiree.
for coming.
Hi. I know you're hot for Snapchat, and I'm still not getting it. And maybe it's because I'm over 40 still, but I'm looking.
No way. You're over 40? Come on.
Closer to 50 than 40, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to be 50 in 2 months.
I'm 58.
50's the new 30.
50's the new 20.
I'm with you, Desiree. And you know something? I was the same way about Snapchat 2.5 months ago, and now I got it.
I need the skinny. I need where do I get the lowdown on how to understand it? Because I really don't. I've been trying.
So first of all, there's Nick Cicero is a great guy to follow. His company is called Damundo. He writes a lot of posts about Snapchat. It's really the platform I think that he represents most as far as influencers and with brands. So check that out. It's at Nick Cicero. I'm not sure how to spell Damundo. Maybe somebody else here can jump in and let you know. I featured one of his blog posts in my newsletter last week. I will also be linking to it in my Snapchat post. The Snapchat post that I wrote for Hybris SAP that posted on their site will be posted on my site next week, and there will be a link to one of Nick's posts. So he writes a lot of good content about it. The way I got to know it was I sat down with Brian Fanzo, which is what I do with everything. Brian walked me through Periscope. Brian walked me through Snapchat. And what I do is I let somebody that really gets the platforms, especially someone in the millennial or Z range, walk me through. Then I figure out how best to use it for myself, how it works with my audience, how it works with my platform, how I can best use it to build relationships. But what I love most about Snapchat is the storytelling, the connection, the engagement possibilities. It's awesome. It's like text on steroids. It is really the way I look at it. I get to use video. If you see a lot of the videos I post in Facebook and Instagram, and you see the writing or the images on them, those are all things I created in Snapchat.
All right. I'll check it out. I'm going to hop out now.
All
Okay.
righty. Michael put a question up. Here it is. Well, first, Omni. This was an interesting question. Where is relationship marketing going? Marketing automation or virtual reality? That's a really interesting question, though.
Neither. Okay. The true way to relationship market is to actually build relationships. So marketing automation is valuable where it brings you the right information. But, slipping my name into an email that's clearly written for everybody, that's bullshit. I mean, I ignore the majority of them. Even if Robert sends me something like that, the odds are I will ignore it. If Brian Fanzo sends me something like that, the odds are I will ignore it. Okay. And I'm not talking about a newsletter. I'm talking about when I get that general email saying I'm on my way to this conference, I need your support, and my name is dropped in. You want my support? Reach out to me personally. Now, I know that you'll think that doesn't scale, but it does because people talk about it. People share it. You can also start empowering your employees. I hear, we can't communicate enough socially. Our social team is only 3 people. How many employees do you have in your company? 400,000. Okay, well, how about taking 1/10 of 1% of those and empowering them, training them, giving them the tools, giving them some basics. When people say, we're worried about what our employees will say, how about your employees just saying, and by the way, this takes a lot of training. It's really hard. And I know it costs a lot of budget dollars to teach this. How can I serve you? That's a really hard thing to say. Yep. But I got to tell you that when people from Adobe reach out to me, people from IBM, people that have been trained properly, they reach out from all walks of life. And what do they write? How can I help you? It's not hard to do that, people. Mm-hmm. And you can empower all your employees, especially this is important for small businesses. I mean, a lot of retailers now won't even hire an employee unless they have an Instagram account and they can start sharing some things that are going on in the retailer.
All right, 2 more questions I got.
Hey, congratulations, Samantha. She has 4 new friends on Snapchat. Yay.
She just joined.
Next question.
Okay, so Michael's saying it's just him, but podcasting seems surprisingly quick for making valuable connections. Do you have a take on it about podcasting?
I think podcasts are great. Look, my problem is it's hard for me to schedule these things, to do the technology behind them. So I prefer to go on other people's podcasts instead of having my own. I tried to start one once with Nicole Kelly, and we just couldn't get the timing together or the storytelling together. Podcasts are awesome. I love being on them, and the people that are dedicated to them, who have the ability to do them regularly, who have the technological know-how or the support staff to do it. So a lot of people like Brian Kramer, like Jay Bear, like others. And by the way, this is a pat on the back, not a criticism. They have agencies. They have lots of employees. They have staff that help them do these things and schedule these things and make sure they happen. If you have that, that's great. Or maybe you're just a person that doesn't travel a lot. Like I travel all the time. It's hard for me to commit to something. Janet Faust was just trying to get me to commit to a time to be on a show with her, which I'm doing. But we had one scheduled, and unfortunately she had a conflict. She had to switch it. And I scheduled another one, but I had to tell her, it's tentative because I might be on the road that day. I'm just not sure. Mm-hmm. But then again, when I'm on the road, I can jump on your show, but it's very hard for me to do my own. So if you're static, if you're in a place and you have the time, I think podcasts are awesome. And by the way, if you have a great podcast, let me know about it, because what I'm trying to do now is I don't never have enough time for those things. But I also, when I go to work out, I think I have to cut my workout short because I don't have enough time. So now I'm listening to podcasts while I work out. So, and especially ones that have been recorded, and I'd like to do again. So please send me some suggestions. And here's another thing I'm going to ask your help. Every Wednesday, like I just told Tony, my Wednesday newsletter features somebody else's content. If you want me to feature your content, or somebody else who I should be featuring, shoot me an email, TedRubin@gmail.com. Send me a link and make a suggestion, because I need more suggestions. Every Wednesday, my assistant is reaching out to me every hour, like for the day before, who are we featuring? Who are we featuring? Who are we featuring? Sometimes I know, sometimes I don't. So I'd love to have suggestions.
That's great. So if anybody knows anybody, you could go to TedRubin.com, send them an email, or actually send an email direct. What is it again?
No. TedRubin@gmail.com. By the way, my email and my phone number are listed on LinkedIn. They're listed on Facebook. I give them out all the time. They're easy. So if you forget it, just go to my LinkedIn profile. It's there.
It's funny that you said that. I gave out my phone number one time on a Periscope and on a Blab, and everybody was like, why are you giving out your cell number? And I said, because it's listed everywhere else anyway for everybody to contact me. What's the difference?
Plus nobody calls. And it makes you look awesome. It builds your brand. People say, oh my God, Ted Rubin gave out his phone number. I mean, when I give it out on stage, normally my phone starts ringing because people in the audience start calling it to see if it's the real number. But then when I pick up, they go, oh, I didn't think you'd really pick up. So, call me sometime.
Well, it's even like Michael, when I reached out for you. I sent you a text. You said, send you an email. Next thing I know, we were on the phone. It just progressed. It's just the way we did it. And you said to me, send me the calendar thing. I sent you the calendar thing.
Absolutely. And I've had people that say, I don't know how to send a calendar invite. Really? Like, or my favorite is, oh, I don't have Outlook. Well, guess what? Gmail does it. Guess what? Your iPhone does it. Look, if you guys can figure out how to use all these platforms, you can figure out how to send an invite.
And it could be from anything to anybody. It doesn't matter.
I do it. Anybody who I ask to be somewhere for me somewhere, not only do I send them a calendar invite, I give them every piece of information they could need. If they're meeting me for lunch, I give them the restaurant. I give them an address. I don't say, go look it up yourself. I make it as easy as possible for people that I want to connect with me. Now, by the way, I got to get running in a couple of minutes. So if you have any final questions, Robert,
I wanted to ask you first of all, what is besides, I know Samantha's in the room, so besides Ireland, what is something else that you're looking forward to this year? Because I know we're both going to be in Ireland at the end of the month and speaking at the social media stuff. But what else is going on in your year that you're looking forward to? Any other big trip, any other big speech area or?
Well, I am looking forward to, my intention is to relocate permanently to South Florida. So I have a home in New York now. I have had the good fortune of having my college roommate, who's been my buddy will be 40 years in a few more months, invite me into his home. He did it when my mom and dad lived down there. My dad passed away a couple of years ago. For the next 14 months after that, I came down every 3 weeks to see my mom and to be with her. And I stayed with my buddy, and my mom always called him her fourth son. And when my mom passed in April, like the first words out of his mouth was, buddy, you can keep coming. And he went out and he bought one of those, those signs you put on your kid's room that has their name. He bought a sign that says Ted's room and put it up next to my room. And now I've started renovating the place for him. I'm going to buy an additional place to attach to it. And I plan on moving there full time. There's a couple of things that have to happen. First of all, I have to be ready to pack up this damn place. I have a 4-bedroom home. I'm lucky I rent it. I can get out anytime. But, I keep passing my daughter's room, and they haven't been here for like 3 years, and that makes me sad. Mm-hmm. And plus, truth be told, I'm happy when I'm there. I'm not happy when I'm here. So, but I also need some things to happen. I need to be able to buy an additional place to attach to it because I need more space. I have a lot of things. So one of the big things I'm looking forward to, whether it's this year or next, is relocating down there on a full-time basis. I travel so much that it doesn't, but I'd rather go home to someplace warm and welcoming than here. Other things I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to doing more corporate gigs and speaking, which I've had a lot of outreach lately. And I'm looking forward to connecting with more of everybody who's here. So please reach out to me anytime.
Sounds good. Well, thanks for taking the time coming by. I know we kind of planned this a while ago, but we're going to see each other in 4 weeks. I look forward to it. You, me, Brian, coming from the Americas. Sam has no idea bringing the three of us over together is what the trouble we're going to cause.
But by the way, I'm sure Sam knows how to get in much more trouble than we do. So, but I thank you for coming on and answering questions and talking about things. And we will definitely keep in touch and talk about some things coming up. And that's it. My pleasure. Looking forward, man. Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for joining us. Reach out anytime.
All right. Take care, Ted. And guys, thanks for everybody coming by. Go to TedRubin.com, follow his blog, reach out to him if you got a question, reach out if you got content, he said, that he might be able to share on his newsletter for you.
And one last thing I want to leave you guys with. Remember, a network gives you reach, and reach is important, but a community gives you power. Keep building those communities.
There you go. You've heard it.
No let up, baby. No let up.
No let up. You got it. All right. Take care, Ted. And guys, I'll talk to you guys all soon, and I'll see you next interview. Take care. Bye-bye.